Welcome to Stormwater and You. My name is Ed Kelly. I'm a resident of Brunswick Hills Township and a former resident of the City of Brunswick. Today we're going to talk about Stormwater and You, and this is the second in a series. So let's go right to the show and talk about Stormwater and You. Once again, this is the second of an interactive series of public service programs designed to provide public information and public education on stormwater quantity and quality issues. Let's go back to our first program and look at what we talked about for those folks that may have missed it. And that first thing listed is why we're really doing this. And one of the reasons we're doing this programming is to give public education, especially to people that have flooding problems as a result of intense rainfall events. In program one, we discussed the private property underground piping and how the aging of the systems can contribute to flooding problems on residents' properties. All these programs in this series invite public input as to the type of problems that residents experience by emailing. First thing we want to look at is how do these stormwater affect the public sanitary sewers? And we talked again about private property, the piping on and around your house. Now we're going to talk about the piping in front of your house, and that is the public sewers. These public sewers are affected by rainfall just like your private property sewers, your small diameter. As you can see, as rainfall hits the ground, water migrates into the soils, eventually into the areas where pipes are placed in the ground, and occasionally this water fills up and overtops the piping that is underground. And thus, sometimes if there are deficiencies in the pipe, this water can leak into the public sewers and cause problems or contribute to the flooding of an area. Let's talk about what infiltration and inflow is, commonly called I&I. Infiltration is the water that enters the sanitary sewer system underground through pipe joints, line breaks, or cracks. When we talk about inflow, we refer to the stormwater that flows from roofs, pavements, yards, manholes, and manhole covers, and then in turn flow directly into the sanitary sewer. The result is an occasional flooding of the public sewer system as seen in the picture below, where a 90-pound manhole cover is physically lifted up because of so much water that had surcharge in the system. In continuing last and first program, we talked about the responsibilities of the homeowner on their property for their own piping. And today we're going to talk about who the owner and who is the caretaker of the public sanitary sewers. The public sanitary sewers are technically owned by the residents that pay their utility bills or sewer rates. So technically the residents own the sewer systems, and the caretaker is the Medina County Sanitary Engineers Group. They are the folks that are see them out cleaning the sewers, flushing, and occasionally making repairs when needed. A little bit about the Medina County Sanitary Engineers, and their job is bigger than just Brunswick and Brunswick Hills Township. They actually maintain approximately 531 miles of sanitary sewers throughout the county, including the City of Medina, the City of Brunswick, and several of the outlying townships. They also operate 3 of the major wastewater treatment plants that the sanitary sewers flow to, and they have a capacity of a total average rated daily capacity of 19.5 million gallons per day. However, they're presently treating approximately 12.5 million gallons a day, and they serve approximately 33,755 homes and business in the area. Let's go ahead forward and look at what the county does in their investigations when they're looking for stormwater or infiltration and inflow from stormwater into the public sewer system. If you watch closely on these videos, we're going to show a rainfall simulation that what we do is actually add water just like it occurs when it rains. So we're going to start the video and we're going to let you watch as we add dye water to the street, and it flows down to the end of the street about where this stop sign is in the left photo. But look on the right where this water is flowing in the street and is flowing and circling in and around and through the sanitary manhole. And the manhole has holes in the cover which allows ventilation for the manhole. However, it's not meant to drain stormwater from the streets. So you can imagine that several of these manholes that may be out in the county area, and if they are low enough, and if rainfall is flowing down the street as we're showing that, why it doesn't take much of this water to create or contribute to the flooding of area homes. So the county is busy continually inspecting, checking manholes in all the areas that they maintain the sanitary sewer system. So these are sanitary sewer manholes. And further, let's look at the same condition, but on private property where a manhole is located in a parking lot of an apartment complex, yet when it's rain, as you can see the rainwater flowing, water is flowing through and atop the manhole and flowing into the cover. And as well as on the right-hand side, as we look at private property, we're simulating rainfall, we're adding a little bit of dye to color the water to make it easy to see, and here's a sanitary manhole with leaks that we have simulated so that when it rains, you can see as much of this water flows into the small diameter pipe, which is at the bottom of the manhole, which is, again, the sanitary sewer manhole. And so these are the things that the county inspects, checks, and eventually fixes. And speaking of fixes, when the county finds these type of problems, we want to look at just a couple of examples of the actual fix. The county either does some of these rehabilitation techniques on their own, or they contract this work out. It's very simply a spray coating can be used inside the manhole, and it actually seals from inside. And you can see the photos on the left where the gentleman has started the spray, and then on the far right and on top, you can see the finished product. The manhole has been sealed, and so now there are no more leaks from the surface water when it rains. Same way on the lower photo where there is brickwork showing here, and there were leaks found on the right-hand side. You can see that this has been sealed and now is not going to have any problems when it rains. And now let's continue. We talked about the manholes, and those are one of the two components of the sewer system. We have the sanitary sewer manholes. Those are the access points into the sanitary sewer that the county uses for maintenance. They have to, at times, enter to make repairs, and also they need to enter the manholes at times for cleaning of the sewers. But let's look at what they look for in the sanitary pipes themselves. We talked about the manholes. Now we're looking at the second major component, which is the sanitary sewer itself. Now, we look underground here as we look at your house and the piping that connects out to the street. One of your pipes takes your downspouts and all your stormwater to a large diameter pipe, which we show on top, and that's the storm sewer. However, the piping that is interior of your house that takes all the wastewater, domestic flow from your house, flows underground and eventually connects to a small diameter pipe, generally in the city of Brunswick and also in the hills. This is approximately 8 to 10 inches in diameter. So it's not very big, and it doesn't take very much excess water to cause a problem. However, these are designed for dry weather flows, and so that during dry weather without a rain component, these sewers have sufficient capacity to transport the wastewater flows to the wastewater treatment plant. So now what we're going to do is activate a video and show you how the county tests the sewer system. On the left, you'll see that we use hydrant water, add some green dye, and it flows down the street to the catch basin. And actually what we're doing is adding water, simulating rainfall condition in the storm sewer. We've actually placed a sewer plug down at the end, this black dot, and holds the water back so that we can see is there any leaks from the storm sewer. As you can see in the illustration, there are leaks coming from this joint, and all of a sudden they migrate into the small diameter pipe. Now on the right hand side, as the video starts, the water is added in the street and a camera is placed in the sanitary sewer or the small diameter pipe. So as the illustration showed, we're using hydrant water. The water runs down into the catch basin and it eventually flows into the storm. And now we're going to watch the TV camera that the county owns, and they will place it in this small diameter 8-inch pipe, and now you see the camera moving downstream and trying to identify those shown in the illustration. So these are leaks that are simulated during a dry weather period to see really what happens when it rains. So this is a simulation from another area, but it's very similar to what the county does in the Medina and Brunswick area. Okay, one other testing technique that is used is called smoke testing. And the City of Brunswick has had this work done in several areas. Of course, some of the older areas, as the system ages, need to be tested to make sure that these leaks do not exist and contribute to the problems of flooding. Now, we'll explain smoke testing very detailed if we can here. This is your house, and the pipes, as we showed you last show, these are your stormwater pipes that come down, the blue dotted pipes out to the storm network, so when it rains, water runs off your roof area and goes to this storm sewer on top. Now, in smoke testing, we're actually testing the sanitary sewer. So we're going to take the county people own blower, smoke blower, and then they add a smoke candle to the end, which is non-toxic, non-hazardous, and we'll turn this animation on, and you'll watch down below here as the blower is blowing smoke up the sanitary sewer, and as you can see, minor leaks are starting to show up, and that water, smoke rather, runs into the storm. Now, what that simulation shows is if smoke can travel to the storm sewer, stormwater can travel back to the sanitary sewer. So that is smoke testing that the county has done and will continue to do as a regular program of testing the sanitary sewer system. Now that we've talked about manholes and their deficiencies and also the pipes, and we showed those leaking pipes, we're going to show you one of the techniques that is used to fix the pipes. The question always comes up when the county finds problems, how and what are the techniques that are used to fix these things. One of the techniques is called lining process. And the lining process is actually a flexible liner that is placed inside the sanitary sewer, and it is towed in and filled with hot water so that the chemical resins in the pipe are cured and they adhere to the sanitary sewer wall. So you can see in all the photos, this blue area represents the liner that is being placed inside this old sanitary sewer. And the next graphic shows water being injected, hot water, and that will allow this liner that's inside the pipe to cure and get hard, and it actually seals any of the breaks that were found during the dye water testing or the smoke testing. And finally, in the last graphic at the bottom photo, you see a camera with a cutter on it. The reason they put this in is once the liner's in place, it has covered up the old service connections that were connected from the houses, so they have to go in and cut this area out. It's a special rotating cutter that they can go in and cut out a saucer area that allows that connection to operate again. These are all robotic tools that are used by either the county or contracted out. One of the other ways that is known in the fixing of broken old sewers basically is replacement. And that takes a little bit more room. As you can see, this is a picture of a new pipe being installed in the ground. And we will talk about some of the things that the county has done, and one of these is replacement. That is, when pipes get so old, they're so broken or collapsing, a lining process will not fix that. So they have to, in some cases, replace. This is a more expensive type of rehabilitation technique, but it is being done in the City of Brunswick and other cities. So the old sewers are dug up, they're pulled out, and the new sewers are installed, especially when the system is severely deteriorated. Once they replace the manholes here, shown in the gray area, and also the new pipeline, they backfill the area, pull this equipment out, and then finalize the area in sod and final grading. Now we'll talk just a little bit about what has the county done, because everyone asks the questions, and some of these questions have come up as a result of what has happened over the years. Approximately in about 10 years, from 10 years, going back to sometime around 1996, the county has performed ongoing sewer investigations, and they continue to do this because the sewer system continues to age. This is not something that the county or any other city can go out and fix everything all at one time and then we're good for 20 years. So basically, when systems are tested and checked, the county goes out, finds the problems, and makes the repairs. And some of the projects that were implemented over the last couple, 10 years rather, cost $1 million. So some of these projects are not cheap, and but it's important that The county is aware that some of these things are collapsing and that they need these repairs, and they're performing. So as some of the work has continued, there, in addition to the $1 million expense that's been done, there has been additional 7 miles of sanitary sewers that were replaced in the Brunswick Garden area. And that was at a cost of approximately $3 million. And they also performed a foundation drain removal project in this area. The last show we talked about foundation drains and how they affect the sewer system from private property. So this was a problem in the older areas of Brunswick, so the county did the project which removed these and reduced the amount of water that was entering, stormwater that was entering the sanitary sewer system. And finally, they constructed two $2.5 million gallon retention basins at Plum Creek Maintenance Facility at a cost of $1.7 million. So the county has done quite a bit in trying to track down stormwater problems in the city of Brunswick and also Brunswick Hills, and these are just samples, examples, if you will, of some of the things that they've done in the last 10 to 12 years. And the question then comes up, well, if the county has spent this money over time, why do we still have problems? Well, the answer is very simple. As the public and private property systems continue to get old, new leaks develop, and it takes a continued partnership between the city of Brunswick, Brunswick Hills Township, Medina County, just together to reduce the stormwater problems that affect these communities. So this is more of a maintenance issue that will go on and on. There will always be problems as the system gets old. As the private property piping gets old, there will be problems on the resident side. As the public sewers get old, there will be continued problems that need to be addressed by the county. So this is really a continual ongoing program that is almost never ending. One of the things that we've been asked about, why do I have backups sometimes even during dry weather? And some of the points that are on the county's website that I brought into this presentation is just some points that they like to make on avoiding problems that will cause backups in your sewer system out on your street. One of the biggest things is to please avoid pouring grease, cooking grease or any other kind of grease down the sewer drain or your sink drains or your toilets. Take grease, put it in a can or jar, and dispose of it in the trash. The reason we ask about not dumping grease, bacon fats, any sort of grease is that grease, when it's warm, flows through your sanitary piping into the large diameter 8 or 10 inch sewer in the street. And as it cools, eventually it hardens and adheres to the walls of the pipe. And as layer upon layer of grease deposits, the sewer eventually fills up with grease, and then we have a problem of a sewer backup. So you can help by, again, taking grease from your bacon fat, your cooking, and put them in a jar and dispose of it in the trash. Use a garbage disposal sparingly, and while operating the garbage disposal, run cold water the entire time. And please avoid using the disposal for waste that is too large or too hard to be ground thoroughly, because those large objects end up in the sanitary sewer system and can contribute to the problems of backing up. Please try and use a drain screen to catch hair, lint, and other debris in sinks, tubs, and floor drains. This is other things that can get in and cause problems with grease and other solids in the sewer system and contribute to the backup. Avoid flushing diapers, paper towels, sanitary napkins, or other debris down the toilet. These are large objects that can, again, cause backups after mixing with other debris in the system. And lastly, please do not pour oil, grease, antifreeze, cleaning fluids, thinners, paints, solvents, or other similar chemicals into floor drains. Pretty commonsensical that we shouldn't put anything that could cause any problems, hazardous problems in the sanitary sewer system. Once again, we'd like to thank you for your interest in viewing this second in a series of public service programs. We will continue this series each time utilizing any of your comments, adding the topics that you may ask for, and any of the questions you may send in. And we'd like to thank you again and look forward to seeing the third in this series of programs called Stormwater and You.